What if I told you that there are secret chords hidden inside every single chorus pedal that's ever been built? Chords that you almost certainly have never heard of, but have definitely heard around. This is the Boss Chorus Ensemble CE2, the original, the king of warble and the undisputed sound of the 80s.
Well, that and stadium reverb on snares. But that's beside the point.
Chorus pedals tend to be pretty simple. Duplicate the input signal one or more times on a slight delay, modulate its pitch, usually with some kind of LFO, and there you go. A tone Kurt would be proud of.
Stop! You violated the law.
If you strum an E major 9 chord, for example, with the CE2 engaged, it's still an E major 9 chord, right? Well, yes, of course. The effect obviously doesn't change what you're playing, yet undeniably, something about the sound is different now. It's thicker, it's wider, there are pitch differences which make the whole thing feel just a little bit shimmery. The physical output of the end sound is not different enough for us to actually call it something different, but imagine if we pushed it to the extreme. Well, now we're reaching pitch variation at almost the 100-cent boundary, so every note kind of has a duplicate, an entire semitone away from the original sound. So is it more correct to say that this is some sort of E major 9 over like a E flat major 9 chord, some sort of Stravinsky polychord from hell? Again, probably not, but depending on your framework of analysis, this perspective might prove to have some real unintended benefits. And stick with me here because things are about to get deeply, deeply weird. But first, this video is sponsored by me. So yeah, I won't take up too much of your time. I have a Patreon. We got lectures, a crash course for microtonal harmony, bonus videos, production lessons, virtual instruments, sample packs, you name it. I really do try and pack it with as much value as I possibly can, but honestly, if you just enjoy what we do here and want to help keep things going, I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Join the Microtonalist Club in the link in the description or the pinned comment. This is a shimmer chord. It feels chorusy, right? But trust me, there is absolutely no pedal involved here. There are many shimmer chords. Shimmer major 7s, shimmer sub minor, shimmer super major, even shimmer neutral diminished chords. You get the point, right? You can shimmer just about anything. But what is it that makes all of these chords shimmer? About 38.7 cents of pitch distance. This is a tiny little microtonal step that we've injected into our chord, the C half flat to your C. And it's called the diesis. We're in 31 tone equal temperament, by the way. You can't exactly get the shimmer sound with just 12 notes, at least not those 12 notes. Audio effects often mirror and exaggerate acoustic quirks from our everyday soundscapes. Reverb pedals model cathedral spaces and canyons and what it's like to be a tiny microscopic human stuck on the surface of a giant spring. The distribution of roughness found in the acoustic signature of distorted guitars has been observed to follow near identical curves to that of a human scream. And, interestingly enough, the West African balafon.
This is in 5-tone equal temperament, by the way.
Chorus is no exception. Even outside of its namesake, this effect had roots in the hearts of organ builders long before we stuck it in a box and commercialized it.
Strengthening a prime tone, or a harmonic, varying the tuning by a fraction of a semitone. He brings the pipes of each stop into equal temperament. Each pipe in a rank, or stop, speaks one tone. The organist can combine different ranks of pipes to produce new tones. Voix Celeste, the heavenly voice, is one such stop, formed of 2 pipes, one slightly sharp, thus giving forth an undulating shimmer.
In 1944, ethnomusicologist Colin McPhee published A House in Bali. He was one of, if not the first Westerner to conduct field studies of Indonesian gamelan, which, you guessed it, has a ton of shimmer. Shimmer, or ombak as it's known in gamelan circles, is so essential to the sound of an ensemble that tones that don't have it are often considered to be dull and lifeless. In researching for this video, I was able to track down this original article McPhee left in the December 1959 edition of Hi-Fi magazine. He writes, "Gamelan was created for the open air. When heard nearby, their metallic brilliance is almost overwhelming. At a distance, their music sinks to a shimmer, and on a quiet night, the softly vibrant gongs and throbbing drums will carry miles through hills and valleys." That's pretty cool. The makers of the CE2 were almost assuredly more inspired by Leslie's and the circuit from the 75 Roland Jazz Chorus amp than they were Balinese gamelan, but still, I found the connection to be fascinating.
And it's at this point that it dawned on me. With modern microtonal software and the freedom to make very, very chaotic decisions with how we spend our free time, I have the opportunity to do something wonderful.
Instead of modeling an acoustic effect like what Chorus does with Voix Celeste, let's flip the script and reverse engineer an effect brought to us by circuits and diodes and potentiometers with music theory and a mostly acoustic means of synthesis. And let's see if we can do it better than the original.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Shimmer chords live inside of chorus pedals, or it's probably more accurate to say we can model what's going on inside one of these things with microtones. But like, what's the point if the end result is the same?
Well, that might be a good point if they were actually the same. They're not. Let me explain. Shimmer chords transform the concept of chorus from a macro effect applied to an object indiscriminately to a micro effect embedded inside the object itself. Shimmer is precision, it's focus, highly localized. I can shimmer just the middle of the chord if I wanted to. Or the top. Or the bottom. Gamelan doesn't do that. Chorus pedals can't do that. Organs, not a chance. By treating this effect as an extension of the original object itself, we create new parameters of control, a new dimension of exploration, and an entirely new voice to compose with. Speaking of composing, we need a way to name these chords. There are 6 basic ways to shimmer a chord, and by my count, about 63 different total ways to shimmer a 3-note triad. We need to create a system which quickly and effectively communicates all of them. After a couple weeks of crowdsourcing and workshopping different ideas, here are our top contenders. Option 1, X shim Y plus N, where X is the chord, Y is the quality, and N is the Edo step from the chord root. So if we wanted to name a C shimmer minor with the 5th of the chord G being shimmered by a rising diesis, we would call it C shimmin 19 or C shimmer minor 19. This system is reasonably effective and actually allows you to name other notes beyond shimmer tones as well, which calls into question the point of the shim part of the chord even being necessary in the first place. But beyond that, for those who haven't memorized their Edo step 1 through 31, there's a higher barrier of entry for this model, probably just a little bit more than I would like. 2, we could try the same formula, but have N instead stand for the degree of the chord that gets the shimmer. So C shimmin 5 or C shimmer minor 5 would indicate that the 5th of the chord is being affected, but we'd have to add an additional identifier like an up and down caret or a plus and minus to indicate a rising or falling diesis. Let's stick with the up and down symbols to avoid any kind of confusion with jazz notation. This is better, but it's still kind of hard to read, especially when we get to more complicated chord names. I think we might need a new symbol to kind of represent this shimmer concept as a whole, something that's more easily read than this. Maybe this one, the asterisk, from the Greek word meaning little star. It's simple, and something about it just kind of conveys the idea of shimmer. It's also easy to read, and with the small exception of damper pedal markings and Gregorian chants, this symbol isn't stepping on anyone's toes in the notation game. So this chord can now be rewritten like this. I also toyed around with this idea from one of my subscribers, to use the asterisk to mean rising diesis specifically, and the apostrophe to mean falling diesis. This means that we can actually cut out the up and down caret entirely and simplify even further. This, in my estimation, is probably the most streamlined version of this chord, but it means that more education is required, as you'd have to know both that asterisk means rising diesis and apostrophe means falling diesis. This might be fine, it might not, I'm not sure exactly, so we'll do a poll. So please answer in the comments which of these two systems you like better and why. Your answer may just help invent new music theory, so that's pretty cool. Shimmer chords can be simple or quite chaotic. Take the C supermajor triad. We can shimmer any of our 3 notes, but we can also double shimmer any of those notes, so shimmer it up and down at the same time. From here, we can also shimmer multiple notes in multiple directions. The most drastic version of this is a triad which shimmers all 3 chord tones in every direction at once. Here's that chord represented in both naming systems so you can see what the most extreme chord possible can look like within the shimmer framework. Remember, just like the settings on your pedal, some options will be more useful than others. We have 63 different versions of the 3-note shimmer triad, and now a shorthand with the capacity to easily describe each of them. The number of possibilities expands as we take into consideration the theoretical existence of shimmer 7th chords and shimmer 9th chords as well. But even with the most shimmer humanly possible on the largest clusterfuck chord we could ever think of, our naming model will not falter, even if our ears do. A shimmer major chord with the 3rd being shimmered by a falling diesis also can be seen as a C shimmer neutral chord with a rising diesis. This is not just chord analysis, but a neat way to compose and to modulate from a major tonality to a neutral tonality to a minor tonality and beyond.
Okay, we get it. You can model this chorus effect with shimmer step, and it gives you more compositional control in a way that you can't get with a chorus pedal. But the chorus pedal's still pretty unique. It's got these little knobs that control things like depth. You can't do that with your shimmer chords. In 31 equal, the shimmer step is always going to be 38 point whatever cents. It's like a chorus pedal, sure, but it's kind of like a chorus pedal that's stuck on one setting. Where's the versatility?
Good point. 31 does lock us into a particular shimmer setting, if you like, but we can model different settings and a metaphorical knob for our metaphorical chorus effect. We just have to go outside of 31. In microtonal harmony, your Edo is that knob. The more you divide the octave, the more you shrink the distance between your intervals, and the more granular your shimmer will become. Using a polytonal branch method, another wacky idea I had, you can check out the card on the screen if you're unfamiliar, you could indefinitely connect one tuning system to another via a shimmer transfer, and in essence, we can invent a new kind of modulation entirely fueled by the warble of a fluid object. You can expand and contract the size of your shimmer with interval depth by adjusting your tuning system through fixed anchor points. It's kind of like a compositional version of automation.
Here in the voicing rooms that the pipes meet their supreme test. Proper speech as determined by human hearing.
So, do chorus pedals actually have like chords, secret chords hidden inside of them. From a certain point of view, kind of, sort of. Okay, fine. In 99.99999% of situations, it's probably unhelpful to think about it like this. For all intents and purposes, this E major 9 is and will always be an E major 9, no matter how much chorus I throw on it. But hopefully in this exploration, I have demonstrated what I intended to, which is that creativity is so often sparked by just a subtle shift in perspective. We can create amazing concepts and ideas and structures by just looking at what we already have from a different angle. If you'd like to support that mission, consider supporting us on Patreon. And hey, let's make more music theory together.